God damn, it doesn't matter what we do in this country. It doesn't matter what we do for our country.
Why?
If you have this skin color, you're automatically demonized, subjugated. And whatever what people may state, we are oppressed in this country. Doesn't matter the feats that we have overcome. Doesn't matter the contributions that we've made, the sacrifices that we've had. It doesn't matter.
Fact.
The Black Panthers. And I don't mean the Black Panther Party. I mean the Black Panthers. This is what their commanding officer, men, you're the first Negro tankers to ever fight in the American Army. I would never have asked for you if you wasn't good, if you weren't good. I have nothing but the best in my army. I don't care what color you are, as long as you go up there and kill those sons of bitches. Most of all, your race is looking forward to you. Don't let them down, and damn you, don't let me down. Black Panthers, the soldiers of the 761st Tank Battalion.
Oh, okay.
What about the Buffalo Soldiers, that regiment of infantrymen that were all black with a white commander? When I look at the contributions and the sacrifice that foundational Black Americans have made in this country, and still to this day, we had racism and discriminations and bias, and people now understand all these systematic barriers. They would like to chop it up as, oh, you guys could do better, oh, you guys can do this. But we have the track record, do we not? That every time Black people go and build something, it has been destroyed by discrimination.
Hypocrisy, my friend.
By false allegation, by bigotry, by hate. Why?
Why?
We've made the same sacrifices that everybody else has made, and even more. We built the country when it comes to the foundation that we've built and the amounts of millions and billions of dollars that we've accumulated off of free labor. What else can we not do? What else can we do for us to be simply accepted as equals? Oh, you see us as animals. You see us as low IQ, do you not?
I will make that hypocrisy hurt.
But no matter the sacrifice, no matter the feast, no matter the inventions that we've made and contribute to humanity as a whole, we still can't get our just due. And I'm not just talking about reparations.
50-50.
The president is going to lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. There's going to be a 21-gun salute. A bugle is going to play taps, and somewhere on every screen in America, the phrase "those who serve and sacrifice" is going to scroll across the bottom of, this white block letter. The whole country is going to take a knee for 24 hours and call itself a country that honors its veterans. And every Black veteran in this country is going to know what the rest of the country pretends not to. Because 2 weeks before Memorial Day, the Department of Veterans Affairs got caught. This past week, the VA Office of Inspector General released a quarterly disparity audit buried on page 47, I believe, of a 312-page report you were not supposed to read. And the audit confirmed that every Black veteran has been telling us family at the kitchen table for over 50 years. Black veterans in the United States are denied their VA disability claims at approximately 30% higher rates than white veterans, presenting with the same medical evidence. I'm a former Marine and I retired as a U.S. soldier, so I know exactly what the hell's going on.
Oh man, it's getting dangerous over here.
They had the same evidence, the same diagnose, the same DD-214, the same Purple Heart paperwork, the same in-country tour, same TBI, same PTSD, same back injury, same hearing loss, same Camp Lejeune water exposure. White vets walk out with the rating. Black vets walk out with a denial. And the Federal Department of Veterans Affairs and the same federal department that is about to throw a parade 2 weeks from today has now formally confirmed in its own internal reports.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
That the disparity is real. Really? The disparity is real all across the country, in every municipality and every level of government. For some reason, people who like to grab on the coattails and believe that the supreme leader or whoever's in charge of this Fortune 500 company, whoever is president at this time, that Black people just crying, we're fat, we're lazy, and that we're just complaining and all this is just fake. I made it out the mud, so can black people too. There's no systematic barriers. You guys are no longer oppressed. You're no longer enslaved. You're no longer in shackles.
Black power!
We are in systematic shackles. And believe me, it gets worse. The same OIG audit looked at the median disability rating, meaning that the percentage rating that determines how much a veteran actually gets paid every month. White veterans on average receive a 65% combined rating after appeals. Black veterans on average only receive 51%. Even though, as I stated before, they had the same evidence, the same diagnosis, the same this, the same that, the same TBI, the same PSD, on and on and on. This is not a paper gap. Oh, did they fill out the paperwork correctly? Did they have all the right documentation? Because I know that the excuses that people are going to make.
We all know that now.
This is not a paperwork gap or things that was written in error. This is a paycheck gap compounded across hundreds of thousands of black veterans in this country. We're talking about the Vietnam era, the Gulf War, the post 9/11. That disparity rounds out to billions of dollars in unpaid disability compensation. Money that should have gone to medical bills, to mortgage payments, to grandkids, college funds, the same as white veterans, the same as every other veterans, to the same generational wealth conversation we had on this channel each and every week. The VA disability check is black wealth transfer, and is a mechanism that has been quietly underpaid for half a century. Then I want you to put names and units behind this story, because the data is too clean to carry the weight by itself. As I showed you guys, the Buffalo Soldiers, you remember these guys, the Buffalo Soldier? Then I want to put names and units behind it, because we have the Buffalo Soldier, we have the Black Panthers, which is known as the 761st Tank Battalion, the 1st Black Tank Battalion. And when I refer to the Buffalo Soldier, we're talking about the 9th and 10th Cavalry regiments that served in the Indian Wars, the Spanish-American War, the Philippines, World War I. They came home to lynching bells. Do you know that we was fighting and dying and sacrificing for our country, that we've been here before the inception of America, before America was America, and we fought in the same wars. And we came home to lynching belts. What about the Tuskegee Airmen, where those white bombers was like, I don't care who flying those planes. We want the Red Tails to protect us. The 332nd Fighter Group and the 477th Bombardment Group escorted bombers over Berlin and lost almost no planes in the air. You guys seen all the movies.
Yeah, but
they came home and could not get a GI Bill loan in their own neighborhoods, because the people that were back here, the racist people that were back here, they didn't see the contributions and the friends and the relationship they built with a lot of non-black soldiers, a lot of non-black airmen, a lot of non-black navalmen and Marines.
We have a problem.
The 761st Tank Battalion that we were talking about prior to, the Black Panthers fought in the Battle of the Bulge under General Patton. The Tuskegee VA hospital in Alabama that was built back in 1923 for black veterans because the white VA hospital would not treat them. They're getting shot by the same rounds. They're getting exploded by the same bombs, but you can't come to the white hospital. Your skin is too dirty. You got too many layers of skin. It's too thick. You guys are like animals.
I mean, my God.
I guess people like having sex with animals because a lot of us got raped and enslaved. I digress. But nevertheless, it became the same hospital that ran the syphilis experiment on black men from 1932 to 1972.
Huh? What?
The Vietnam War, where black soldiers were 11% of the troop population, but 14% of the combat deaths and a disproportionate share of the disability cases. And the Camp Lejeune water contamination, where 1 million Marines and their families drank water contaminated with some sort of chemical from 1953 to 1987. And a disproportionate share of the claims are black Marines who served at the base because the Marine Corps assigned black recruits to Lejeune at higher rates. Every one of those wars, every one of those bases, every one of those units produced black veterans, and every one of those black veterans is twice as likely to walk into a VA office and walk out with a denied stamp on their claim.
The U.S. government has discriminated against African American military veterans dating back decades, disproportionately rejecting disability claims from Black veterans at a much higher rate than white veterans. That's according to a new lawsuit filed in federal court this past week by Yale Law School's Veterans Legal Services Clinic. The group filed the suit on behalf of Conley Monk Jr., a Vietnam War veteran whose VA benefits were denied for nearly 50 years. He's joining me now, along with Richard Brookshire, who served in the U.S. Army before co-founding the Black Veterans Project. Welcome to you both.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Thank you.
And Mr. Monk, you enlisted in November 1968. You served in Vietnam, but you were wrongfully denied an honorable discharge, which meant that you received no VA benefits. The VA denied your applications for education, housing, and disability benefits before finally agreeing in December 2020 that you were in fact eligible all along. How did the lack of VA benefits affect your life?
It really damaged me by this not letting my family receive any form of benefits. I couldn't receive any benefits and neither could they. So my kids was not entitled to educational benefits, which they should have been entitled to. They could have also got some sort of the stipend while they was going to school. And also the fact that I couldn't even get my job back. I worked for the VA when I left to go in the military. And I came home, I couldn't get my job back. I joined, I did not get drafted, so I wanted to go to fight for my country, to be involved in the Vietnam War. I felt that I was totally robbed of my rightful dues when I came back from Vietnam. I served honorably in Vietnam. I was involved in a lot of different combat actions. It was totally a disgrace to me and my family, and the fact that we was denied benefits that I was rightfully entitled to.
Hoorah to one of my former Marines, a different generation, no less. But we definitely need to start putting names on some of these living people who are still not receiving these benefits. Because someone say, well, he didn't receive an honorable discharge, and come to find out he should have received an honorable discharge. Because some people like, he must have did something, right? He must have did something for him not to get an honorable discharge, and it come out that wasn't true. See, there's all these different names that kind of revolves around in my head, like Wesley Clark Jr., son of a 4-star general, Iraqi war veteran, who's been on every news show this week pushing for disparity finance to lead to action. Representative Mark Takano, House Veterans Affairs Committee, formerly the chair, now the ranking minority member, who issued a 16-page letter to the VA secretary just last Thursday demanding a full investigation. You have Richard Brookshire, the Black Veteran Project, who has been litigating these disparities through FOIA pre-documents for a decade. You have Senator Raphael Warnock out of Georgia, who has introduced standalone legislation requiring the VA to publish race-disaggregated outcomes data on the quarterly basis. You have lawyers at Yale Law School, Veterans Legal Service Clinic, back in 22, won the first federal court ruling acknowledging the disparity. So we have proof and evidence and statistics to show that these disparities are real, that these discrimination cases are real, even to people who served our great country, even for people who has sacrificed, the ultimate sacrifice, and gave their life. No matter the mission, no matter the orders, they're no longer with us. And those who are still with us have ailments and conditions and issues I should know. There are the names that we need to know if you have a Black veteran in your family with an open claim. These are the people that you need to contact. And here's a kicker that nobody is putting on cable news. The same Trump administration that is about to host a Memorial Day parade at Arlington Cemetery is the same administration whose fiscal year of this year budget cut the VA Office of Health Equity by 47%. Now, what red-blooded American, Democrat, Republican, or independent is not for the troops, that are not for the people who serve this great nation, who protects this great nation, who goes out on missions for this great nation, no matter the order? This is the same administration that has slashed the VA workforce by an estimated 80,000 positions across the last fiscal year. The same administration whose Secretary of Veterans Affairs publicly stated in March that race-conscious disparities reporting is divisive and would be discontinued. We live, unfortunately, in a racist country, because whoever's watching this, who's probably non-Black or maybe even Black, you may have some sort of subconscious, racist, bias, discriminatory, bigotry, thoughts, and ideas. Whether it be now, later, yesterday, or tomorrow. Some people just have it. Not to state that you're racist, not to state that if a Black applicant come across your desk, you're going to be discriminatory against, not stating that, but because of the perpetual claims that Black people are this and Black people are that, instead of telling all the great things that we have done.
This is exactly what I've been waiting for.
Every demographic in this country has done wrong, commits crimes, murders, robberies, whatever it may be. But when it comes to us, is it the skin color? Is it the phenotype? Is it what they've been telling you, whether it be media or government or this racist, bigoted people, the KKK, the skinheads? Are these the ones that are telling you these things? Or did you grow up around a whole lot of Black people and you're like, nah, I just had her first appearance? And I would tell you that's probably a lie. There's very, very few non-Black people who grew up around Black people. Very few, okay? I can probably count them on maybe 10 sets of hands.
Yeah.
But here's a translation for people who probably not getting this, because we have to understand that the same agency that just got caught on page 47 of his own audit denying Black veterans at 30% higher rates is now defunding the office that does the catching. As I told you guys for the past 2 weeks, this administration is eradicating, is erasing, is deleting anything that's dealing with statistics and race, because they're stating that, oh, they're stating that these are race-based. No, they're not. America asks you on everything, on every form, what race are you? Automatically, that is a data point. Automatically, we are collecting statistics. When you guys do the Census Bureau and people come knock on your door, they're looking at who you are. They put a certain number down, where you live, what your race. They may even ask you questions about your religion, because they are collecting data.
Why?
They're collecting data to have a aggregate amount of statistics to say one or two things. And for them to eradicate this is to deepen the amount of discrimination that Black people have in this country, because the watchdog is being killed at the same moment the wolf is being asked to investigate the missing sheep. This is not bureaucratic dysfunction. This is institutional choreograph. I want to look at who is celebrating, because Concerned Veterans for America, the Koch-funded Atrove group that has been lobbying for VA privatization for a decade, the American Legion's national leadership, which has been suspiciously quiet on the disparity findings while its state level posts in Mississippi and Alabama and Texas, have actually issued statements. Defense contractors lined up to absorb VA medical service and to privatize community care. And the networks where the disparities will get worse because the federal monitoring goes away. And every governor in a former Confederate state who would rather give Black veterans a Memorial Day handshake than a fully rated claim. You see the symbolism? This is the same thing that occurs when we bring up reparation. They want to give you a George Floyd statue. They want to give you a pat on the back, and they want to come to the cookout, and they want to shake your hand, and they want to say Black people this and Black people that, and sometimes say the good things that we have done, but they never want to give you tangibles. They never want to give you the money that you are owed, not deserve, that you are owed.
It's really painful.
They are celebrating because of the disparity report, which under any other administration would have triggered a congressional hearing within 48 hours, have been allowed to drop and disappear like a stone in a pond on a Sunday afternoon. And ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't get better. It only gets worse. Because when I look at the actual tell of the tape, records show that Black veterans had a disability claim denial rate of roughly 30%, and whites around 24%. But it's going to affect our numbers a lot greater, because there is not as many Black soldiers in the Army that there are white soldiers in the Army, because Black people are only like 14% of the population. but we have some of the same ailments and same conditions. Disparities were particularly high for PTSD and hearing loss, with a 22% gap in approval rates from certain conditions. Because you know why? Because unfortunately, not all Black veterans, but some still go through racial barriers, even in the military, the Army, the Air Force, the Marines, and the Navy. It doesn't matter, ladies and gentlemen. It still happens. And now we have the proof, and they're trying to eradicate and erase and delete and get rid of the proof. The lawsuit action here states that the lawsuit filed by the Yale Law School Veterans Legal Service Clinic on behalf of the Marine Corps veteran Conley Mark Jr. accuses the VA of discriminating against Black veterans for decades. These are not lies, ladies and gentlemen, for whatever you believe. I thought you guys love the troops. I thought you guys support the troops. Does it matter what color the troop is? Does it matter the way the troop died or the veteran sacrificed? I mean, what are we doing here? Why is this color on my body such a thorn in your side that you just want to eradicate from the face of the earth?
You think racism can control me?
See, the thing about America that people don't really understand, that Black people are Aboriginal, indigenous, and native to this land. Just as well, a lot of the Native Americans that came across the Bering Strait that look somewhat Mongolian and have sort of an Asiatic look. Then there was also Africans, enslaved Black people that came over on ships. So there's a mixture, but roughly it was around 1 million that came over on ships. 5 million went to Brazil. But these people, whether they were here or brought here, were here before America was established. And do you know, still to this day, there's people, they've said it all through history. They said it all through each and every generation, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 2000s. They'll tell a Black person, not knowing if he was born and raised in some African country or he was right here in these United States of America prior to the inception of the country. Even though that their ancestors are from all these other countries, mostly Europe, would tell Black people, go back to your country. And the only thing I have to say is you first. You go back to Germany. You go back to Britain. You go back to Ireland and Wales. You go back to Scandinavia. You go back to Norway and Sweden. You go back to those countries. But I want you guys to hear me, because this is not to be divisive, but this is just to point out the blatancy of some people that act as if that Black people are less American than any other people. I will challenge you this. You take a white person from Russia, you take a white person from Belarus, from Poland, and you bring them over here, and you're a white person that's been here for 100 years. Your family has been here from the inception of America. And you take that white person, you take me, and you take you. Who do you think have more in common? The Polish guy or the Black American guy or the white American guy? Do we celebrate the 4th of July? Do we cook out? You see, we have more in common than the people that you guys try to bring over here to replace us. The white South Africans that supposedly was going through a genocide and they proved that was false. Do you have more in common with them because of their skin color? Or you have more in common than the people who've been living here for hundreds of years? But I want you guys to hear me on this, because I'm not here today to drown in the diagnosis. I'm here to put accountability back into our hands. And if you have a Black veteran in your family, a father, an uncle, a grandfather, a cousin, a partner, a son, a daughter, a wife, a niece, a aunt, there is work you can do today. The first thing is a free appeal. Every VA claim denial can be appealed, by the way, within 1 year of the decision date. Most denied Black veterans do not appeal. And the data is very, very brutal. And a lot of them didn't probably even know that you can appeal. They like, once I get my response, that's it. They didn't even know. You would like to believe they would know, but some people don't even know, or they're just tired. See, Black veterans appeal at lower rates than white veterans, even when their original claims were stronger. Again, this has been proven. I'm not just speaking in conjecture and rhetoric. The system is calibrated for the giving up. So the first step is pull the claim file, pull the C file, read the denial code, and file the notice of disagreement. The American Legion, the Disability American Veterans, also known as DAV, D-A-V, and especially the Black Veterans Project will help you file it for free of charge. And the second thing, and write this down, is the Camp Lejeune Justice Act of 2022. You guys familiar with that? Because if you have a relative who have served at Camp Lejeune at any point between 1953 and 1987, they may be entitled to compensation outside the VA disability system. The filing window right now is open. The Black Marine compensation rate at Lejeune is currently lower than white Marines for the same exposure. And you guys absolutely need to push these claims. Thirdly, this is the political work. The Senate Veterans Affairs Committee is set to hold a markup hearing on the OIG report 2 weeks, maybe from today or tomorrow. I have to get those dates more. I will have to get those dates more solidified. But nevertheless, roughly in 2 weeks, the day after Memorial Day, you call your two senators tomorrow and you ask one question on tape. Will you sponsor or co-sponsor mandatory race desegregation outcomes reporting at the VA? If your senator is any of the current or former members of the VA Affairs Committee, you can basically call them directly, especially if they're current. If they will not say yes in plain English, ladies and gentlemen, you fund a primary challenger. That means whoever is running against that person, you fund the other one. We'll get your ass out of office. See, I keep telling you guys, if you don't have the money, you have the vote. And we have to do that. For people who are not doing anything for us, knowing that there's disparities, knowing that there's discrimination, knowing that we're not being paid our fair due for the same thing that another demographic and race has done, then we need to show them the power. See, the federal mechanism is broken, but the congressional firewall is the only thing left to push. And if we don't use it, that may be eradicated too. See, ladies and gentlemen, this touches me close to home. Because I, too, am a former Marine and a former soldier who've done 20 years, who's understanding what all of these people are currently going through. And I had to push through and take some leaps and bounds in order to get the rating that I received. I have all sorts of injuries. I have to take damn near Motrin and not painkillers, so to speak, but Motrins for, I can't even raise my arms high enough. This is probably the highest I can rate without pain. But this is to show and reveal a lot of things that's been happening, because some people just don't believe Black people when we state that these things are happening to us because they can't see it. See, the old way that people saw racism, the brutality, the fire hoses, the billy clubs, the stringing it up and hanging and beating us to death, that doesn't happen that much anymore. They kill us economically. On this channel, we diagnose power. And the diagnosis day is heavy, but plain. Because 14 days, 2 weeks roughly, before this country lay a wreath on Black veterans' graves, the same federal department that buried their service is denying their disability claims at 30% higher rates than the white veterans buried beside them. I don't care nothing about a damn wreath. A damn wreath to honor soldiers who have fallen, who are Black, white, or whatever, doesn't do anything for the families and those current soldiers and veterans who are here and alive today, who still need the assistance, just like every other veteran that are non-Black have received assistance. Am I stating that all Black veterans haven't received assistance? I'm not stating that. We're talking about that 30%. That could have changed the very lives of a lot of people. But that is the headline. That is the moral. That is the gut punch, so to speak. The flag they folded for our grandfathers in 1968 is the same flag draped over the casket of a Black grandfather in 2026. And the claim file in the cabinet beyond the casket is the same one that came back stamped denied. So we don't grieve. We don't perform. We file, we appeal, we organize, we legislate. And on Memorial Day this year, when somebody tries to tell you we are all in this together, you remember whose grandfather still has an open claim and whose great grandchildren is still owed the back pay. Say their names tonight in the chat. Drop your unit, drop the branch that you were a part of, drop the year that you were in. Because the VA buried this report, we're not going to bury the men and women who this belongs to.